Welcome back, audience. Hope you're doing good. As always, my pre-video schluck. And in this video, I want to talk about the last gem, the ultimate gem, the ring that rules them all, so to speak. The last gem that, or distortion as you call it, you start with a distortion, and then upon alchemizing it, it becomes a gem, and that's true fulfillment of your soul desire internally first. And you already know my model of consciousness, and we come here with these distortions. These distortions, each one creates a loop of reality that is negative until it is learned, but not learned in a way of coping and finding another coping mechanism, which, for example, it can be this manifestation craze that people right now are into. I don't appreciate this type of teaching because I know it's black magic. To me, everything is either white or black. There's nothing in between. The second you say there's something in between, black and white, you are introducing something that is not native to the structure of consciousness. Everything is very structured, very lawful, and there's no ambiguity at all. When we're talking about consciousness, if there is an ambiguity, then there is an error in the system, so to speak. Without talking about this too much, I just want to say that it's like a tree. Imagine like it's a tree, and it has levels, and in each level there are these what you call like distortions, and each one creates a reality. Because it's distorted, it wants the union outside, right? And so there's, from the scarcity, for example, even if you manifest something from scarcity and you engage your imagination and, I want to get this, but why do you want to get this? Do you want to fix that bad feeling that is inside? And so that's black magic. And you have to create a belief system in order to pacify that distortion, and it's just not worth going that way. But you see, like in this matrix society is very slippery. Even the people who are looked up to and saying like, oh well, that's the person who is kind of teaching everybody how to manifest the reality. But if you look at it deeper, these are false. They don't have their own truth. They just figure out how to manipulate the mind, but they don't have the soul. They act from the ego. But it works for people because like, oh, I need some solution, right? And so you engage into this manifesting your reality, but you create something, right, that pacifies that lack inside of you for the moment, and then you need to create another one and whatever, and you keep on doing it, and it's the exact same thing that it always was. But your soul is getting darker and darker and darker because you chose the path of the tree of knowledge. This is why I don't appreciate any of these teachings. I don't care how popular they are. I don't care. For example, the teachings of Neville Goddard were real, not because of what he said, but because of what he was and who he was. So the message that he was sending was quite clear about feeling is the secret. And so he was touching a little bit about the alchemy and saying that, hey, if you want to create this, first you got to confront the feeling until you tune to the right feeling inside of you, which is the sense of contentment, fulfillment, and fulfillment of desire already. Then it will come to you in physical, and that's the right way of doing it. Your soul grows, but if you go the other way, your ego grows. That's what some people call spiritual ego. And it's nothing spiritual about that type of spirituality, because it's using the faculty of imagination without engaging the soul and alchemizing these distortions. They're just looking for the solutions in the mind area to pacify them. And this is why I said, like, successful in the matrix is failure in life. And it's like a tree, and we got to light up each, like a Christmas tree. I think that's where the kiss of Christmas tree actually came from. We got to light up each single one, and that's the game. And there's no way to do this besides the alchemy. Again, I'm just using this word alchemy. Is a courage that you put attention where it needs to be. The source of your suffering is where you place your attention, and stay with it until that suffering, without any motive, actually, you just stay there as long as it's necessary until it changes. But you don't try to change it. That's the thing. You don't have any intent. It's just attention, not intention. And that's when you make a true change, and you grow in power and compassion. In the contrast of those two parenting energies, that the tyrannical father and devouring mother, the antidote of tyrannical father is a benevolent father. But benevolent father does not mean, it means power versus ego versus that tyrannical. And the compassion is antidote to that devouring mother energy. And so we are souls, we're like children. A soul is is always a childlike. It never grows up. A soul never grows up. It can build the adult side that helps to feel protected in the world, right? And so one that go the dark way, and so then tyrannical father, tyrannical or devouring mother, that's one way that you grow ego. Or another way, if you go the light way, then the power and the compassion grows, and that's your adult side of the soul that is right. These are your true parents, rather than this. But the soul, of course, I'm talking about the internal archetypes, and because world reflects your internal archetypes and the relationship of those archetypes that you have inside of you. And so as you alchemize each one of these distortions, you light up, and eventually you come across the last one, because all these other ones are kind of already fulfilled desires, like you feel content about them. But then the last one, and I've talked about this before, the last one is a biggie, because it deals between the primordial separation, which is not necessarily bad, but the way it works is that if you haven't got this primordial gem alchemized, what perpetuates in your life is, because it's about a union between truth and love, what may perpetuate in your life is seeking for the external union with, if you're a woman, that would be a man. If you're a man, that would be a woman. That represents that pure love archetype or whatever, right? But the thing is that if you have the distortion inside and you're seeking the union outside, energetically you keep repelling that. And so therefore it creates this chasing running dynamic that everybody's talking about. And it's never ending, and it will never end until you alchemize that primordial distortion within you, which then turns into the union in your heart and separation outside. the fact that there is a separation between you two outside is not bad news. It's becoming this. It turns from the lust passion to love passion. Because when you have that distortion, primordial distortion within yourself, and you repel the person externally, then the only way to do this, the only way to find the union is through lust. And so therefore, this, you can say that this particular alchemy of this primordial gem, out of which all the other ones stem from, which essentially what we're talking about is transmuting all lust into love. That's what we're trying to say. And it is, as you can imagine, the hardest thing that anyone would ever do. Because it's the biggest one, it's the primordial one, and it's dealing with the dynamic between the truth and love itself. And that's what people call Hieros Gamos in alchemy. And you won't find true love until this is alchemized. And if my model is correct, which it is, if I may say so myself, these little structures, these geometrical structures inside of you determine all your life. And to me, it's kind of easy to imagine them maybe like bubbles, right? And there's a certain geometrical structure right there that's like distorted, and that's going to create thoughts, emotions, and sensations, which is a physical reality that is according to that code that is right there. But as soon as you alchemize that, different stories start happening. And so we have all these many desires and these little bubbles of reality that is being created. And one is primordial one. And I see people sometimes teaching how to tune to that. In essence, the alchemy is about tuning your attention with awareness, and it's finding. It is a type of game, and it's always tuning and finding. It's always different. It's always new. This is why you cannot get into a method and to alchemize this last one. It's very difficult. Why is it so difficult? Because as you are every day alchemizing something, the intensity is growing inside of you. It's growing, it's growing, it's growing, it's growing. And you can have a certain degree of control, but I don't mean manipulation, but just like you still have sufficient attention to connect awareness with your attention. But the more it goes intense, the less capacity that you have to keep your attention online, right? This is why at this point of alchemy, it's not a good idea to like, this is what I've learned, to smoke weed and drink alcohol. I mean, if you eat something and have a little beer and glass of wine, that will be all right. But you got to be also careful, because if you are at a high intensity, you don't want anything to affect your attention. Because at the high intensity, when your attention is lost, all that energy goes into lust, and then good luck getting your center back. then. So and I think Jordan Peterson said that there's some games you don't get to play unless you're all in. This is one of those games. Because if you're a shred of doubt that you won't be able to go through this portal, you won't. It's just, it requires everything you got. It requires everything you got. You cannot leave a speck of you behind. You got to take all of you through this gate. That seems to be like my experience, not just mine, but I mean the first-hand experience. That once that is dealt with, then everything else will fall into place. And like I said, on a normal state, like right now where the intensity is not as high, well, relatively speaking, right? Not if it's not intense, doesn't feel intense for you, then you still have attention and awareness, everything's good. But if you bring that fire up, then it becomes way different. And so when you are a little bit attentive and aware, you may say, well, it's all right, that's kind of easy. But when you put in that state at the highest intensity, then it becomes a different ball game. But the point of this game is to still find that coherence and alignment in the highest intensity possible. And when you do that, then that's when you can consider yourself breaking through that portal. But also, knowing where you are in the game and saying that, okay, that distortion can be pacified through lust, and I can play the game like that, and but as again, like I said, that's not the point of the game. It's still a challenge, but I'm saying that what I'm trying to say is that don't trip too much about guilting yourself if you try and it just didn't work. That's not necessary. It's just because it's never going to go away. The cycles of time keep going, and you're always going to get the next chance. And if you are looking for real love, right, and a real fairy tale story in your life, then this is the only way. This is why I keep it very simple. There are these distortions. If they're alchemized, they call them gems. And until they're done, doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what anybody else is saying. It doesn't matter what you learn. Nothing is going to change, because that's not what changes your reality. It's all at the soul level. And a lot of people don't even touch that level. They call spirituality, but they're still on the mind level. They have not touched the spirit. I mean, mind can create and simulate the spirit, but that's fake. It's not your genuine alchemy of that distortion, and then the source shining through it, because it's the real source. What the mind can do, which includes taking psychedelics and everything, is simulate that. It is not real, it is simulated, because it connects the dots externally. And so for the time being, it creates an appearance like that gem is alchemized, but it's not. And that wears off, and then um, the darkness shows up. So this is why I stopped psychedelics um, when I realized that, and because I realized that the psychedelics is just gonna put me into the dark. And of course, time is important. At this particular time in history, right now, you shouldn't be faking it. You shouldn't be taking psychedelics. This is too late for that. You could have played it, played with it in the 70s and whatnot, just to see the glimpse of it. But right now, it's not the time. Because, like I said, it's a simulation of union. It's not real. It's not yours, and it's not real. But you can get to the very similar states through alchemy. Okay, now, so anyway, I'm just trying to bring your attention to the fact that there is this primordial gem upon which everything else stands. But it seems to me that you cannot get to it until you alchemize the little ones. Just like in a video game, there's little bosses, and then you get to the biggest one. And right now appears that I'm at the last boss. And it's good to know where I am. I'm not claiming to have beaten it, so to speak. But I'm also very aware of what is my enemy. And that is lust. And I have to alchemize every bit of that energy called lust, which is the incoherence feeling that makes you seek out for the solution outside of you. And I think that's lust is the dark side of love, and of course, the lie is the dark side of truth, and that's the whole game about. The whole game is about this right now. And you see, no one will be able to avoid this reality that spirituality is not something external, that is just playing with your attention and awareness in relationship to these incoherent and negative feelings, as we call them. That's the way, and that's the only way. And everything else is just beating around the bush because you still have not mustered up enough courage and surrender. And I'm not saying this in a judgmental way, because, like I said, I can't always handle those things as well. Sometimes they're just too big and I'm not ready for them. But I always know that that's the whole point. And when I choose to pacify it rather than alchemize it, I know what I'm doing. And that's the difference. Because there's a little bit of awareness there, right? You didn't lose it, like you're still aware of what's happening. Yeah, okay, yeah, you lost the battle to lust right now. This is what's going on. All right, cool. All chill. Yeah, no need for guilt, no need, not like, all right, it's just, just lost one. All right, it's all right. It's going to be next cycle, next attempt. You can do it better next time. Because every time you lose it, you gain a capacity, a bigger capacity for the next time. It's like that, like and of course more clarity. And it may appear that even these losses that, if you attempted to overcome it, the losses may appear because they had to be there, almost like that, right? This is why if you are ready and you are, and that makes you to be more in, right? You see that failing and you see it, all right, I wasn't all in. I wasn't all, there was a part of me still trying to sneak the way out of this. Okay, all right. I got to be all in. Right? It's you know, it's a biggie. It's a biggie. Because the ego is afraid of losing all these perks, right? Like, oh, all my pleasure's gonna go away. What the fuck? No, I can't. So just gonna try and hold on to this. But of course, the reality is that pleasures do not go away. They just turn from the external to internal, almost like a background, which I call enjoyment. And I'm not sure about this word pleasure because because it's like a double-edged sword, right? It can be external, and I think I see people call it internal is joy, enjoyment, but it's a internal pleasure. It's not because of the external factors. It's because you feel where there's a separation, there's also union. It's kind of flickering between the two, and that creates that sensation of enjoyment. And perhaps there is, again, these are just playing with words. You can say the external pleasure, internal pleasure, but probably ideally you want to name it different. And of course, if you like that word pleasure, then say that whatever you're experiencing outside is not pleasure. You can say, well, that's indulgence. That's not pleasure, whatnot. So just choose the word that you like and just understand what the meaning of it is, really, you know. Because when you are moved by it, then something inside of you is like, well, go out and go and eat this thing right now, and you kind of lost control of yourself because now it's your ego is in control because you got to eat this. It's like an addiction, right? You got to eat this because it's going to be all right, or whatever, right? Any kind of addictive substance out of addiction, it's making you do this, and you're like, you got the freaking addict shakes and all that to get that fix. And whatever then it happens, then what is it? Is it pleasure? Is you going to call this pleasure? I don't know. I think pleasure is too much of a beautiful word to call this pleasure. It's type of fix. I don't know. I can't find a good word, but it's a pacifier. It's not real, right? Okay, enough of this. That's the last battle, and I also want to say that there's no way to cheat at this. There's no way to. You can't use willpower on this. There's a certain type of like being okay that you're not gonna go back. It's just like once you go through it, you just can't go back. But that's good news. and your enjoyments, they're not going to go away. You're just going to be not looking for them outside of you anymore. And so you're going to be more of a like expressing it, because you're so full of it. You're just going to have to express it somehow. You're going to have to express it somehow. That soul game does not go away. The soul still will want to create and play, but this time it's going to be soul that's doing it and not the ego. Okay. I don't know, really. I said everything that I have to say about this. This is the last one, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't know what's going to be after this. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not sure that I'm going to be making these videos anymore, these types of videos. My videos may change. I have a feeling that they will. But anyway, I hope that it gave you a little bit of clarity of how to play this game of life. But you know, like once it's done, then I really don't see the need talking about this. I think that disappears. Fuck, it does. So yeah, I think we'll see. We'll see. Thank you for watching as always. And if I see you in the next one, it might be a very different one. So, peace.